Hello, everybody. Welcome to Witness TV. Today, I'm here with Mathew Hammar, co-founder of New South African Wrestling, a local Pietermaritzburg, proudly South African wrestling brand. Matthew, thank you for coming on the Witness TV with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So we're gonna get straight into it. So you've started this promotion in Pietermaritzburg for Pietermaritzburg. Can you take me through your journey of starting this promotion? What struck a chord with you in your heart to pursue wrestling and to showcase the talent of South Africa?
So wrestling has always been a deep passion of mine, and it's always been a big love of mine ever since I was an early age. We all got into it the same way through watching it on TV, watching it through the WWE. But what hit differently from me to other people that just watch it is something hits you in life, and sometimes when you see something, it resonates deeper with you, and you just kind of know that that's what you want to do with your life, and that's what you know that you want to take your life to. So wrestling was that thing. Wrestling was the thing that I became truly passionate about. It just felt right to me, and it's what I knew always what I wanted to do with my life. Once I finished school, I was told many times that it was a silly dream by teachers, parents, family members, but it never deterred me because my love for wrestling, it was always the thing that I was just most passionate about. So having that, I knew from the moment I left school, I knew that it was the only thing that I ever wanted to do. I wanted to be involved in the wrestling business. So as soon as I finished school, I found a training school up in Durban, and that is where my journey began. I was trained by a wrestler named Joshua Chetty, Joshua the Bull, as he's more well known. He stays in Chatsworth, and that's where my journey began, up in Chatsworth. I used to travel up there 2 times a week on Tuesdays and on Saturdays, sorry. And it would just be myself and Joshua for my first 6 months to a year, and he taught me how to become a professional wrestler. But unfortunately, a year into my training, the academy that I was at closed down, and I was left with no other choice but to go and pursue my wrestling dreams elsewhere. And I was forced to leave home, which was something I never really wanted to do because I was born and raised in Maritzburg, and I love Maritzburg. But I wasn't prepared to give up my dream. So I took that initiative and I went up to Joburg and I carried on training in a training center there. And from there, I've wrestled across almost every promotion in South Africa, winning championships in every promotion. And I've gotten myself to the point where I'm the most decorated professional wrestler in the country under the age of 30. So having that experience, it's put me in the position where I realized that I can run a promotion myself now. I don't have to just rely on being a wrestler, because it's always been a passion of mine to teach people wrestling and teach people or educate them more about wrestling, because wrestling is one of the most misunderstood forms of entertainment in the world. And also, from coming from Pietermaritzburg and KZN, when I left the scene there, once that training school closed down for almost 10 years, there was just no wrestling in KZN, and that always struck a chord with me that the scene just died. And it was always a dream of mine to not just start a training center, but to start a promotion and bring wrestling back to Pietermaritzburg, bring it back to KZN, and just get the wrestling scene going here so that nobody else in KZN would have to be forced to leave their home in order to pursue their dream elsewhere.
Okay, thank you. So your brand purely South African.
Yes.
Can you take us to what style you guys wrestle in? Is it a mixture from American to Japanese, or is it just South African, purely South African?
So as you can tell probably by the name, New South African Wrestling, we did take that from New Japan Wrestling. We do have a big influence from them. I'm a big fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I like their style. But our whole goal was to create a truly South African product. There are other promotions around South Africa, but I've always felt that our product has always been too similar to the American product. I wanted something that South Africans could resonate with, something that South Africans could be proud of, something that we could truly feel is local and from South Africa. And that's why everything from the name with New South African Wrestling, from our colors being the green and gold of the Springboks to the zebra being our mascot, everything is ingrained in South African culture, including our stories and our characters that we try to bring up.
Okay, how do you balance storytelling, proudly South African storytelling, with entertainment and all the high risk factors that come with wrestling?
So the thing is, story always comes first. You can teach anybody with enough passion and time and dedication, you can teach anybody how to wrestle. But the athleticism and the moves is just one aspect of wrestling. It's not the thing that keeps people engaged. The thing that truly hooks people and keeps their attention and makes them want to come back for more are the characters and the stories. So the characters and the stories always come first. Everything that you do in the ring has to translate to what the story you're trying to tell or the character that you're trying to portray, which is all rooted in our South African culture. So, like I said, the story has to come first. If there's no good story, the people can't get invested in the match. it's one thing to see big moves, it's one thing to see people slam each other around, flips off the top rope, but if you don't have a reason for the people to care, they're not going to come back to the next one.
Okay. So you've recently, last year, you had a big performance at the Maritzburg Show.
Yes.
So was that the first show, and then what other shows that you've had since then?
So the Maritzburg Show was our debut last year. It was a big opportunity for us. I'm very grateful for that opportunity that we had, because it's NSAW has been a work in progress for a couple of years. I mean, just over a year ago, I was working as a courier, doing deliveries for about 25 Rand a pop, just trying to put aside money to hopefully get a ring and just make this dream come true. And unfortunately, that was a very slow approach, and it wasn't getting me anywhere quickly. And luckily, myself and Brandon, my co-founder, we met the right people, we got the right opportunity, and through the Maritzburg Show, we were able to create NSAW, bring it together, and have our first official show. And we were able to bring wrestling back to KZN, which has been a goal of mine for a very long time.
Okay, perfect. So how has the reception been with fans in KZN and in Pietermaritzburg?
It's been really good so far. It's been very positive. I mean, our first show we did in Hall 10 at the Royal Showgrounds, and the moment that it was announced, the fans just flocked to the hall, and we honestly, the whole hall was full. We had people standing outside the hall. It was honestly an amazing turnout, and we were very happy with the reception we've had so far, especially with last night, our first episode airing on Mpupa Kappa DSTV channel 260. It's been amazing to see all the people that tuned into the episode, all the feedback that we've gotten, and it's nice to see people truly appreciating wrestling that isn't just WWE.
Okay. So how many students do you have at the moment with NSAW?
So currently we have about 10 in waiting, because next week is the official launch of our training session. We will be opening it up in Hilton. So we have a backlist of about 10 to 15 guys that are waiting for the training center to open, but we've managed to train 4 guys that are ready to have matches, that are ready to have shows, and they have already made their debuts at our previous shows. We had a show up in Shongweni at the Shongweni Motor Show. We were the main act for that, and we had a show there called the Rally Rumble. 3 of our students made their debuts on that show. And we just had another one here in Pietermaritzburg at the Royal Showgrounds called the Nitro Brawl, and another one of our students just made his debut to that. So within the space of half a year, we've already managed to train 4 students and get them into the wrestling business.
That's amazing. So with these 4 students, what style are you training them in? What are the preparations that you're putting into place for students to make the debut and make a big impact in the wrestling world?
So everybody's different. So you have to take into account somebody's build, their look, their athleticism, and from that you can determine the style that they're going to be. If the guy's a big guy, got size on him, he's obviously going to be a bit of a powerhouse. He's going to be throwing people around. Maybe the guy's a little bit smaller, on the skinnier side. We can easily turn them into into a high fly and stuff like that. Or if you want to be a completely different character, maybe the guy is tall but he's not so well built. We can make him into a brawler or a striker. It depends on their build. It depends on their personality.
Okay. So how important do you feel it is to reflect local culture in your training with these new wrestlers?
It's very important for us to keep the identity. Like I said, the whole South African thing, it's more than just a name for us. It is the identity of New South African wrestling, and that's what we try and ingrain into our students, that it's cool to watch WWE. It's awesome to be a fan. That is what got us into all of it. But we're not trying to copy WWE. We're not trying to copy the characters, the storylines. Everything we do has to be unique. It has to be local. It has to resonate with South Africans. And that is like our goal. And that's what we try and instill into our students, that take inspiration from WWE, but make it South African. Bring it back home. Make it uniquely South African.
Okay. So this has been a long journey for you. So what are some of the obstacles that you faced throughout these past few years?
The main thing with being a wrestler itself is the lack of shows, unfortunately, in the country. There aren't that many shows currently that happen on a weekly basis. The shows are few and far between, unfortunately, for many wrestlers, or for many promotions. So for a lot of the times, the guys will just end up training week after week after week, year round, and just for the opportunity to wrestle on maybe 2 or 3 shows the entire year. And that's been very demotivating for a lot of the guys, because they put every wrestler, that gets to that point where they can actually work on shows. It takes a lot of effort to get there. It takes a lot of financial backing because you've got to work on your gear, you've got to work on your traveling, you've got to get yourself in shape. There's a lot of behind the scenes elements that you have to prepare for to get ready to actually make your debuts as a wrestler. And it's a bit disheartening when you put in all this effort, time and money to only maybe get a chance to wrestle 2 or 3 times a year. And that's why we've been really trying to push up our show game and really try and change it so we can get consistency with our shows and at least have a show every month for the guys.
Okay. So I've you've recently wrestled at Maritzburg Show, at the Rally Rumble. What are some of the shows that you guys are looking forward to or working towards within the next year or so?
Like I said, next week is the start of our training center, and it's been a big challenge to actually just find a place in Pietermaritzburg. Unfortunately, rent and stuff like that is quite costly. And especially with a training center, the only way you can really bring in money is from actually charging training fees. And that's not a lot of money. It's not something that we don't make money from the training side. That's simply just to keep the training center open. So it's been an obstacle purely just to find a training center to train the guys. But luckily we found something up in Hilton now. And it's going to help NSAW in the long run create consistency and stability because we're going to be able to officially train the guys in a hall, train the guys every week at set times, and have that build up every month where we can have a show in that center every month and we can start creating content for our YouTube channels because everything will be filmed and be turned into episodes.
Okay,
so we're looking to just create stability and consistency.
Sounds amazing. So what's your end goal for NSAW? Like a massive promotion in KZN? Do you want to expand like within the country or?
Our goal is to become obviously the biggest promotion in South Africa. It is called NSAW. It's called we are rooted in Pietermaritzburg. We are based in KZN, but our ultimate goal is to take over the whole of South Africa, and just create consistency and bring true South African wrestling to the whole country, while we still have our home base and training centers and everything here. But the ultimate goal would be to be able to have a training center in every main region and be able to put on consistent shows in every main region of the country. But we were going in the right direction now because, like I said, with the DSTV deal, we've got our TV deal going. And that's been very big for us at the moment. We've got a lot of sponsors that are very interested in sponsoring us. So our main thing is we just want to create consistency. We want to get our stuff on TV. We want to get our stuff on the socials like YouTube and everything like that. And we want to bring South African wrestling to the whole country.
That sounds amazing. So with NSAW and with your stuff being on the internet, on social media, if a young child were to watch what they see you guys doing and they want to do what you guys do, what advice would you have for that young child?
It would depend on where they're from, but my first goal or my first piece of advice would be to tell them to find the closest training center. Speak to the promoter, speak to the coach, see what it's going to take to join the training center, what age you need to be, the fees that come with it. And from there, just start training. That's the best way to go about it. Just get to a training center and just start learning how to become a wrestler. Everything from there will start to fall in place.
Okay, perfect. So if our viewers at YouTube TV want to catch any of your content, where can they follow you guys? Instagram, that kind of thing?
We are on all social media platforms at the moment. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and now now that our episode's just gone up on DSTV, we're going to be once they've aired on TV, we're going to be putting up all those episodes on YouTube. So you can catch us at New South African Wrestling, NSAW, on all of our socials, and you'll be able to follow our journey there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for joining us today at Witness TV. It's very exciting to learn about wrestling and to see what you guys have in store for KZN and Pietermaritzburg as a whole.
Thank you.
Thanks.